Nearly 13 years in prison, then over 20 years as an attorney. Needless to say, I learned a few things. Let's talk. All right, ladies and gentlemen, NTB here. So listen, I came across a really interesting case that I want to share with y'all. This is the case of an inmate who escaped from an Alabama jail by the name of Casey White. Now, Casey White was a bad dude. He was locked up and he was serving 75 years on a murder case, and he was still looking at 2 more potential murder charges, and he's going to trial for them, and that's why he was down there at the jail. While he was down there at the jail, he met a correction officer, Vicky White, no relations, and they started a friendship which built into a romantic relationship, and they fell in love. So she helped him escape, man, and she got out. Let me give you the back story, and then we're gonna come back, and I'm gonna tell you the interesting parts of this case that I found and others are asking about. So let me give you the backdrop. Casey White, an Alabama inmate who was awaiting trial in a capital murder case, escaped from the Lauderdale County Jail on April 29th, 2022, with the help of correction officer Vicky White, no relation, who claimed they had a scheduled mental health evaluation at the courthouse. So she claimed they had a mental health evaluation, so she had to move him from the jail to the courthouse. So she took him from the jail, outside the jail, into a car, and then they rode off into the night. They never went to no mental health evaluation. They were on the run for 11 days and were found in Evansville, Indiana, where they led authorities on a high-speed chase that ended in a crash. Vicky White shot herself in the head once the pursuers, the police, were converging on them, while Casey White was apprehended and returned to Alabama. Casey White was ultimately indicted for felony murder in connection to Vicky White's death and for illegally possessing 5 firearms at the time of his capture. So they was charging him with her murder, even though she killed herself. We'll talk. Recently, though, Casey White has pleaded guilty to first-degree escape and agreed to a maximum penalty of life in prison. He took a plea deal. In return, prosecutors dropped the murder charge he was facing and Vicky White's death, and ultimately they took the death penalty off the table, so they spared his life, but he will serve life in prison. So that's what I want to talk to you about, because some people don't really understand the particulars of that, and they have some questions. Let me share. Let's start with the romantic relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, this is not unusual. And for those who don't know my background, I served 12 and a half years in prison when I was a teenager, and I was in some of the most high-profile prisons in New York State. And trust me, that happens. That's not unusual. It's not unusual for inmates and prison guards to form a relationship. They're human. Anytime you put 2 people, humans, in close proximity to each other, and remember that the guards are with the inmates sometimes longer than they with their family. They in the jails, 8 hours a day, sometimes 16 hours a day. And we all mixing, we mingling, we talking. They get to watch you. They see how you deal, how you carry yourself. They may have to talk to you. You may have to have a conversation. Then one conversation leads to another conversation. Next thing, it's like, this guy's pretty interesting. He don't seem all that bad. Feelings start to grow, and there it goes. So anyway, I'm not trying to defend the relationship and what she did. I'm not trying to excuse it in any shape, matter, shape, or form. I'm just telling you, this is what happens. This is not unusual. So anyway, the next issue that some people had some questions about was the issue of how is it that they're going to charge him with her murder when she killed herself? That's the issue. It's called the felony murder rule. And under the felony murder rule, if a person is committing a crime, right, and someone dies during the commission of the crime, it doesn't matter who kills them. The person who was part of the crime can be charged with that person's death. So that's what they doing with him. They charging him with her murder, even though she killed herself. And he's facing the death penalty on these charges. And so some people think that's very fair, because if you wasn't doing what you was doing, so the story goes, she would still be alive. Others are saying, yeah, but hey man, I didn't kill her. You understand? And that's the trick the trap of the felony murder rule. A lot of people think it's very, very unfair, very, very unjust. But anyway, what do y'all think? Did he get away with murder? Should he have been held accountable for her death? Or was justice done in this case? Let me know, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk some more. NTB. Have a good one.